on, I think it was on Twitter or maybe it was Instagram. I was just kind of scrolling through the explore page,
Mm.
and there was like this page, and they were like, this is the caption was, this is the best scene ever in cinematic history. And it took me a while, but after a while I figured it was a scene from X-Men. I don't know where, but I don't know who it was, but there was a guy who's like really fast at running, where he basically slowed down time. I've never seen this movie, but it was actually a pretty cool scene. But from the beginning, he apparently he was saving all his friends from the X-Men house or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Because it was like blowing up, and so he got to the front of the house, and then like the camera basically started from his feet up, and he had on these news but all black Air Force Ones mid tops,
Mm.
and I was just like, man, he made it look so cool. And I was like, I kind of want. I haven't rocked Air Force Ones since high school, in middle school days, man.
Same,
And it
same.
used to be the all white on white, penguin walking so you don't crease it.
Yeah,
But now it's like, I don't even care. I just want to own it, but then I'll crease the shit out of that.
yeah,
I don't really care anymore. But again, goes back to how much saturation of media, just seeing that scene, and how the videographer started introducing the character from his feet up and
hmm
showing the Nikes. And I was like, man, damn it. You just made me want those. Hey, it's us again. Welcome to Real Talk by Our Stories, Your Legacy. And we're back again with another fire round episode. It's been very fun and successful lately. Just us kind of starting with just one general topic, and just us kind of freestyling, and just really just letting our mind wander and melt around this certain question of the day. And so this question of the day, a little backstory, it was inspired by um, the new Netflix documentary that came out, I believe, this month, or maybe a month ago, called Less is More, or Minimalist. Sorry, we're not sponsored by Netflix, so it's okay for me to butcher the title, but it's about, I think it's Less is More. It's just about kind of like living minimalist, getting rid of stuff in your life. And so the question that is taken verbatim from the documentary was a question the same producers came up with to kind of figure out uh, this new way of life. Or not even a new way of life, a new perspective to think about your life. And so that question is, how might your life be better with less? And so that's the question fire around today that we're going to talk about. And just as always, before we jump in, we go around and see who is joining us at the table today. So today it's just myself and Tyler. We're missing our two brothers, Andrew and Zavon, and no special guest today. So it's just us two. It's just us two going over this, pondering this life question together. Tyler, how's it going with you today?
it's going well, man. Going well. It's I don't know. It's Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday to me. I don't know. It might have just been the weather this past weekend a little bit, and then I mean, yesterday was pretty nice, but I think just I don't know. The weather lately has just kind of been putting me in like kind of a downer mood. So I don't know. There's something about today where it's just you felt a little anxious. You were kind of like, I don't know why I'm sad right now. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
weather, but I don't
We
know.
like to blame the weather, especially us living here in the Pacific Northwest, but I feel you, man. With us 100% working from home and coming up to almost a year anniversary of fully working from home.
Yeah.
Um, our managers and everyone like that, they try to keep everyone in the loop. And so they send these daily emails, just kind of keep everyone in the loop and all that stuff. And so I forgot that, and then usually send it late at the end of the day. And so I'm usually off by that time. And so when I logged in my email today, I saw them saying, hey, happy Monday catch up kind of thing. And I'm just like, wait, is this an early email or is this a late email from last night? Because you're right, today felt like a Monday, and the biggest, typical Monday where it's just like, man, rough day. But after work got over, I've finished a book I was reading, a series, by the way. Again, no sponsorship, but as Tyler, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Kevin Kwan series, Crazy Rich Asian.
Yeah.
So he has a three book series. I finally finished the third book, and it was a great, great ending. I hope he does continue the movies with it, but the books alone was still a beautiful series. And the first movie, Crazy Rich Asians, standalone by itself, even with no sequel, is still a great movie to watch. So that's my favorite pastime. But I'm happy now I could jump onto new books.
Yeah.
So, but let's hopefully we maybe this question of the day, this fire round of the day, is going to help get us in better spirits and prepare us for much better mood for the rest of the week. So again, as a reminder, let's dive into it. So based on the minimalist documentary that we watched, it's you don't have to watch it to kind of understand, but it's the idea that in today's capitalist society, we want a lot of stuff. I think this is a quote taken from not verbatim, but it's like a quote from the documentary that said, on average, every household in on average, the household in the United States, everyone owns at least 300,000 items, stuff. And that could come down from like books or old CDs or old chargers, charging blocks even that you don't even use anymore. And so the idea of the documentary, which inspired our topic today, was like, maybe our addiction to materialistic items is making us more miserable. And this is perfect for us being through this pandemic. It's like, how do we find more meaning in our lives? And the documentary, though not related to the pandemic, proposed a really cool perspective. What if we got rid of the materialistic things that just quite literally weigh us down? Got rid of them to the most bare necessities. Maybe not even the bare necessities, but at least just the necessities. How would our life be better? And so that question that I'm going to open up to you, Tyler, is how might your life be better with less?
I think for me, the all the things in my life are just like, well, maybe not all of them, but there's a lot of things that are very materialistic. I think kind of growing up, learning from it's kind of weird because I learned from my grandparents, which in Japan, minimalistic is kind of like the way of life. The square footage of their places, their homes, all of that stuff, not very much, it's pretty small. Just because, country itself is fairly small and they have a lot of people and everything, but very minimalistic in that regard. So it's kind of funny seeing how my grandmothers kind of grew up being minimalists, but at the same time, they've kind of adapted to, kind of the American way in some ways. But that's because they were also alive during the time of like the Great Depression and everything and whatnot. So we kind of see, the older generation who had, you see it both ways, but you see like the older generation that didn't really have much growing up. Like they want to hold on to things. Like it's a mindset, like, I don't have this, I'm going to have it now. And then you just kind of collect and collect and collect. So kind of like what you said there, with 300,000 items in the house, like you don't really think about it. You're like, do I really have that much stuff in my house? But it's crazy because you do. Because I know for a fact, after you said the charger thing, I'm like, I know for a fact that I have at least 3 chargers in the other room. I don't even use anymore. Like it's the things that don't even they either I've gotten rid of, they don't work anymore, or just like an old like 30 pin cable for like the old like iPhone 4, like it doesn't work for anything anymore. But why do I keep it? I don't know.
Right,
It's
right.
just there, like, So I mean, I think for me, with less, it would be I think it would make me focus on I guess what's important in life at that point. There's not as many distractions of things. I don't feel like I'm constantly being cluttered by things. I think that was the biggest thing um, for me, kind of growing up too, because like I said, both my grandparents were minimalistic at times, but one of my grandmothers, um, birthday is actually next week, passed away a couple of years ago. She became kind of a hoarder in many ways. Like she collected a lot of trinkets and little statue figurines and kind of all the things throughout the years. She just didn't really like getting rid of things. Um, so it's that collector mentality. Like for us, it definitely came from my grandma on that side of the family, and then on my dad's side, my grandpa. He like you like to read books. I mean, both of us like to read books here, but
Yeah.
my grandpa, when he passed away, and we had to help my grandmother, who's fairly minimalistic, is still to this day. Um, when we had to help clean up his room and the garage, I we had to take, I think we took about 800 books to like half price books. We tried to donate them to a library, and the library just didn't have space, and they just
Yeah.
didn't have a need for them, which unfortunate, but we'll try to give them to the things. We tried to find book drives, but just nothing was happening around that time. So it was kind of weird. So we just took them to half price books. I think 800 books. We got like $87. That was something, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like that, so many books, and I guarantee you, there's still probably a few hundred more somewhere in the garage that we don't even know about. But
Right.
I think it's one of those things that it's a security thing. You have it, you buy it, you don't want to get rid of it. You have this emotional attachment, like most Americans now is like, if it's a book, like, oh, I want to keep it. I finished it, but I want to keep it. Like, I'll do that. But most books, if I finish it, like, I'll either gift it to somebody else to read, or donate it or sell it back. There's only like probably a handful of books that I'd actually like to keep, that I keep just to kind of reference, or sometimes I reread them. Kind of like, for instance, like this book right here, The
Was that the
Mamba
Kobe Bryant?
Mentality.
Yeah.
um,
I got that down there too,
yeah,
behind me on my bottom bookshelf.
yeah. So I have, that's one of the books that I have up on the shelf, and rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Today
Yeah,
was
yeah. I was
the
just gonna say that.
the 1 year anniversary of his passing. Him and Gigi and all the other folks on that helicopter there. So there's some things like that, but I digress to the point. I just think it's one of those things, you don't feel like you're surrounded. You have to kind of upkeep things. Um, but I think if there was one thing I learned from my grandmother kind of growing up, is like, she just had a very clean household. There wasn't too much to that sat out. Everything was in its place. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything extra in the house that didn't need to be there,
Right.
kind of thing. Even when, like she knew we had grandkids and everything, she had a box of toys that she would keep for us, but that's it. Once we left, she like put them in a closet or somewhere. And her house was like spotless, you
Yeah.
know. So like, whereas, nowadays, like, you go into my kitchen or something, there's like 8 appliances there. And like,
Right.
do I need all those appliances? Probably not.
Right.
Uh, do they come in handy, and is it a convenience factor when I do need to use them? Absolutely. Like, can I use a pan for pancakes? Sure. Why not? We have an electric griddle. I mean, it's
Right.
way easier, right? But
Right.
it also takes up a lot of space on the shelf that, you know, could be used for other things.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I think when you get to like the root of it at all, it's just, I think having less would just make life, I don't know if it's make it more fulfilling, but I feel like, you what's the word? You invest more in yourself, in your time with, well, your time in general, like your time for yourself, your self care, your time for your significant other, your spouse, whatever that may be. You spend more time with them. You find creative ways to really enjoy life, enjoy one another. So I think that's very healthy. I think a lot of it has to do with your just mental headspace. I mean, kind of like what we talked about when we first started the conversation. Like we've been kind of at almost in a like a sad, depressed mood kind of thing. And a lot of it has to do with weather, but there's a lot of other stuff going on. I mean,
Yeah.
this past year, obviously, pandemic. We're coming up on a year already, which
Right.
is crazy. I mean, I've already been told that I'm still working from home until the end of June. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That hasn't
so
changed for me either.
yeah, so it's like it's crazy. So like, obviously, like being home all the time, I think it's a little bit different. Whereas like, if you're at work every day and all of that, and you kind of just come home and things are just there and whatever, it's like, all right, well, I'll handle it later. I'll handle it later. Things kind of
Right.
collect, but you don't really notice things. But whereas like if you're home all the time, and you're working from home every day, you see the same things. And like,
Right.
I was like, I guarantee you that box sitting over in the corner over there, like when we first moved in, it's just full of stuff that we have not touched since we moved in. We probably don't even need that stuff. Why is it
Right.
still here? Kind of thing. So
Right.
it's just, yeah, for me, I think it's just the clutter factor. And there's just stuff like sitting around. Like obviously there's things that I collect. I mean, both you, if you look at our screens, you're watching this video, you see both of our collections of
Yeah.
Funko Pops behind us, which I mean, that goes into another thing as well. Just like collecting things. Like, why do you collect them?
Hmm.
Is there value? Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's like a monetary value to them, but
Right.
what's the value to you at that point? Also, what does it mean to you? Why? But yeah, I think it's just, if you kind of like strip it down to the bare bones of, I don't know if we say bare bones, but obviously like you still have some things that are like pleasurable and all of that stuff, and
Yeah.
um fun or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, like you just have one of those things. I think the biggest culprit of things, I think, is just growing an attachment to these things, to these items, and materialistic things. I mean, clothes, for instance. When you buy new clothes, a lot of people keep their old clothes and say like, "Oh, I'll wear it again someday. I'll wear it again someday." Whatever. And it's just like you kind of have to get into a habit of just like, all right, well, I can't buy new clothes until I get rid of my old clothes, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more of an excuse. That's how you're like flipping out and all of that stuff. And that's part of the minimalistic thing. So
Right.
yeah.
Over time, I started developing kind of not for everything, but for most things. Like take shoes for example. I don't have a lot of shoes, but I do love like my boots. Whether it's like dress boots or just kind of like hiking boots that I don't even wear to hike, but they're comfortable, so I wear it like a day to day. Like the Merrell brand type hiking boots.
Mhm.
Um, but I started developing this mindset where it's like, all right, kind of like you were mentioning with your grandma and stuff like that, where um, you mentioned those keywords, everything kind of has its place, right? So my definition or my word for that type of same thing is utility, meaning that everything I buy, there's a reason why I bought it for my day-to-day use, right? And so for shoes, when I started adapting that mindset, I feel bad because it's like, all right, if I keep on buying new shoes just because it's cool, but I already have already a good pair that does the same thing, I'm gonna feel bad for it. I'm gonna personify that shoe where I'm like, now I won't wear it anymore. Because I got this other shoe, but then what if I start wearing that and then I bought this for no reason and I feel bad for not taking care of it? Same with clothes, like wear it out, or do what you said. Make it a mentality where you're like, okay, I really like this new shirt or this new shoe or this new pants, um, but it's it. I utilize it the same way as this other pants I already have that's still good, but make it a habit, like you said, Tyler. Donate that or sell it off first, so then you don't clutter and just have that sitting in your room. It goes back to like a, it's this trend right now, declutter minimalist. Marie Kondo, that's another thing. I haven't really watched her, but that's kind of like the same idea. Get rid of like these ties. What was one of her quotes? If it doesn't make you happy, then why have it? Why
Right.
own it?
Yeah.
Something like
Something
that.
along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to me, it's like I wanted to kind of unravel this emotional tie we have, and I kind of had a great analogy for it. You and I being fans of Harry Potter, it reminds me of the Horcruxes.
Yeah.
Voldemort's Horcruxes, because it's like technically he had to put his soul in items for him to like live longer, but it's kind of in the same analogy. It's like we own these items and they have pieces of ourselves or our memories or like you said, some sort of intrinsic value that we put on it. And so that's why we just kind of leave it like like in this capitalist society, we come up with so many unreasonable reasons to hold on to something. Think back to your, I don't know, let's say you have a Apple charging block, you don't even need it. You'll probably never use it ever, but you'll come up with some reason like, hey, there might be that one party that I'm going to throw one day. That a friend who comes over may need that charging block to charge it while they're Snapchatting too much at this party, or something like that. We come up with unreasonable things. No, man, throw that out. Easier said than done, but I think again, we're not sponsored by this Netflix documentary, but we're inspired by it. So this documentary, they pose a question at the end to take this challenge, and the challenge is to for every day of this month or whatever month you start, for every day of the month, find one item to get rid of, whether you sell it or donate it or just throw it away. Find one item every single day to get rid of. And so I'm going to take that challenge. I mean, you see this mess of this a bookshelf I have, but our bedroom's pretty bare, but there's clutter. And so I'm hoping to start this weekend where I just start decluttering things I don't need. And it's tough because we have these emotional ties. I mean, I have this like a, what is that? Like a little tabletop kind of rack right by my bed. And I already see a bunch of clutter. And I know there's like a water bottle there for some damn reason that I don't even use or haven't even touched for like a year now. I need to toss that out, so
Yeah.
take that challenge. Like, kind of like what you mentioned before, like let go of the things that tie us down. And even though these aren't literally tying us down, just the clutter is kind of holding us back, it's kind of like, everyone has their own type of cleanliness. I'm not the cleanest person, but I do know that I appreciate a less cluttered place than a cluttered place. I don't know how that I don't know the psychology behind that of how it messes with our psyche.
Yeah.
But I think if we could go back to the root of it all, is that we hold on to these things not because we're lazy, but because like at the end of the day we have this sort of tie to it, and we come up with a very unreasonable rationale to keep those things. And so, yeah, I think that's part of my goal is just to grab it, throw it in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it kind of tied how I pictured in my head. I mean, what you just said too. I mean, it can tie back to our conversation on the kind of the afterlife conversation we had, where in like a lot of cultures, at least the Asian cultures and everything, with the afterlife, you see that how it's portrayed is like your soul is tied by a red string to something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like how I pictured what you just said was like, I may have bought this, I don't know, water bottle um, 6 years ago, but I mean, I use it ever, like for instance, I have this water bottle, but you know what? I have two other hydro flasks that I barely even use. Why?
Right.
I don't know. I don't need them. They're the same exact size. One just has stickers on it, but it's just sitting in the cabinet. But yeah, I think that's just what it is, like it's that little string that's kind of attached to you and it's just tied to you. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, and there's going to be something for everything. It's like, oh yeah, that one time that I got scared, so I grabbed this. I don't, I don't know, something,
Right.
and it helped me. It comforted me. So now I have to hold on to it forever. It's like a keychain or something, like just it's just one of those things. Like I'm guilty. I mean, everyone's kind of guilty of doing some form or fashion of it. So
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll see how the experiment goes. I'm gonna truly start this weekend and just figure out, all right, man, what can I let go? Honestly, um, probably, I could probably speculate 70% of the items are clear garbage, anyways. Like for example, on my shelf, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have um six like six boxes of iPhone cases, not from all iPhones, but I just had it over the years, and why? There's
right,
literally nothing in there that I want anymore. The phone, the item, the headphones, whatever, the stuff that I use daily is what I want. But it had the emotional tie because go back to our capitalist society reason. Um, like you see all these commercials, they always get you with the emotions like you're a sucker if you don't have this item.
mm,
And even the packaging is meant to play with your emotions. I mean, for God's sake, there's YouTube videos on unboxing, which is um, like meditative to watch someone unbox an item that you don't have,
hmm,
buying a brand new Apple iPhone and then like opening it for you is like it's like meditative, and so keeping these boxes, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, for anyone who have ever owned an iPhone, which is majority of people, um, there is like a very appealing thing of the box, but it's a box.
yeah,
Toss it. And so I have a few right now that I'm already eyeing. I'm not gonna lie, there is some emotional ties to it because it's just such a sexy box.
right,
but
right.
but it's like, no, man, I don't even need it. It's just clutter right there.
No, exactly. I
So
mean, yeah, I same thing when I got the new iWatch or Apple Watch rather. Yeah, that box is so clean. It's like
yeah,
I'm like, what the heck? It's like a puzzle trying to open. Like, ooh, 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 lift, lift, lift.
right,
Little flower folds out of it and creates this beauty of a thing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's cardboard.
right,
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think, yeah, it's just one of those things. You don't really need it, and that's the thing. Stuff that clutters. Why are we attached to it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's a
right.
media thing or if it's. I mean, hey, like I said, that thing folds out into a flower. It looks cool. Like, why'd you keep it? It looks cool. Well, it's just sitting in the corner. Dad, don't question me. All right. Like,
Right.
are you ever going to open it again? Maybe. Like, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. Like you come up with some irrational thought like like this box that opens up into a pretty flower may be the only thing that saves my neighbor's life because that is what's gonna so the day I won't open it again, but who knows, maybe that is the thing that I need to open to save someone's life. um, but that's all part of it. We all have
Yeah.
different ties to things, but I believe as well. I mean, I don't know yet. I'm gonna do this experiment myself. Um, there is still like maybe there is like 20%. Let's say out of 100 items, unnecessary items in your house, maybe I'm gonna go high 15, 20% of the items you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stick to that irrational thought and keep it. Sure, maybe you could hide it in a good place, or maybe it looks nice, like you said, in the corner, where it's still a nice little piece that you could put out in the open. But I feel like I guarantee 80% of those same items, don't look, just throw it away in the bin, and you would never even think about it again. You won't even probably um, remember it, that you even threw it away.
No, yeah, for
So
sure. I mean, most of the time you don't even remember you have it until you see it again.
right,
And then you're like,
right,
no, 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 no. I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to throw it away.
right,
Bro, you didn't even know you had that in there.
right. So,
Man.
yeah, man. Um, Check out that documentary. Try to do the challenge. I mean, like I said, I think it's pretty awesome during kind of this pandemic time. Again, the documentary had nothing to do with the pandemic, but during the pandemic, we just try to figure out ways to enhance our lives. And who knows? We're stuck at home more often. Um, have less clutter. Get rid of the stuff. You don't need you don't need those 20 copies of those CDs that you know you hope will rise in value when the world ends. Get rid of that. Sell it off now or gift it off. Um, but I'm gonna see how it goes. We got literally let loose of some of these emotional ties and yeah, like you said before, man, let our time and our body get vested in better things. Have more room for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. It's just how you got to do it,
Yeah.
It's just small steps, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. Some days it might not be easy to get rid of something. The other days it might be. The as soon as you get momentum, it's a little bit easier. You stop making as many excuses.
Right.
Sure, you can sit on it for a day or something, but at least find something else to get rid of. Um, I know for me, the big one, shoe boxes, man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, bruh. I mean, I like you said in the beginning of this episode, like sneakerheads, all that stuff. I grew up a sneakerhead. I kept all my
Yeah.
shoes in boxes. Why? I don't know.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's definitely shoes that are worn out. I'm probably never gonna wear them again. They're still in the box at this point. I put them back in the box, put them up on the shelf. Probably will never wear them
Right.
again.
Right.
I just yeah,
Right.
it's just one of those things. I think the shoe boxes is probably one of my biggest like clutter type of thing because they're you look at them like, is there anything in those boxes? No, they're just up there. Shoes are
Right.
actually on the shoe rack over there, but I
Right.
wanted to save the box because it's a box.
Man. But yeah, give us a challenge. I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah,
I think kind of in our final word, just to kind of sum up everything we say, give this minimalist idea a chance. Invest your money in general into other things that kind of just free yourself. So by giving it a chance to declutter your life seems like it's an opportunity to enhance your life in a way where you can quite literally and figuratively um, let go of things holding you down. So again, we're not the experts on it, but we are willing to give it a try. Especially as we get older. It's like, do we want, you know, um, do we want to own a garage that's just filled to the brim with boxes and you can't even park or walk into it? Think about that.
yeah, yeah, for
So
sure. And if
yeah,
you're in a spot where you're moving, that is the easiest way to get rid of stuff because you will find a lot of things that you didn't know you had. You never realize how much stuff you have until you have to move. Um,
right, right,
and know all about it. You never know until you have to move how much shit you got. And
right,
that is the perfect time to purge a lot of stuff.
right.
Like, I don't need this. This was in the back of
100%.
a shelf somewhere, and I just didn't even know it existed until now, even though I like it.
100%, man. So, well, thank you. And I do feel a lot better just kind of to talk about this. I feel like it's getting away from our moody fall Monday today, Tuesday or whatever it is, whatever day it is. But just to kind of game plan, you know what? I got an idea, a plan for the weekend to declutter some unnecessary things. Um, so Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, everyone, again for listening. This has been another fun episode. And again, like we always say, take that question, run with it, think it over yourself, ask about it to your friends and family, and do the challenge. See what it means to kind of like get rid of some of those items that you don't even remember you had, but just open up a drawer, find those unnecessary charger boxes or wires, toss them out. Probably that wire doesn't even work anymore, or is not even compatible with many things. Toss it out. So again, shoot us a question if you want us to provide any clarity, give us some feedback. We're going to continue to do this and get better and continue to bring more thoughts and better topics to the table. Thank you again. Again, this is Real Talk by Our Stories, Your Legacy. This is Tyler and Steven, and we're signing off.
Later.